Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing how you can use masking to create the look of additional layers, and I'll be featuring some brand new Essentials dies from Pinkfresh Studio. Now this release is fabulous because it contains a bunch of dies. They are basic shape dies that you can use over and over again in your card making and crafting, and I'll be featuring the Postage edge dies in today's video. I'll also be creating a video with these tomorrow as well. This Pinkfresh Studio Essentials die release is available now over in the Pinkfresh Studio shop, and I'll have that linked below for your convenience. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Now this release is a little bit different because it doesn't contain any stamps or press plates or any stencils. It's simply focused on these essential shape dies that can be used with any of your other Pinkfresh Studio products or other products that you may have in your stash as well. Now, some of these shapes will look really familiar to you, and some of them have different edges than the previous release shapes. So there are some nesting hexagons, some nesting elongated ovals, but these have some different edges along the side. So they have a double stitch or a blanket stitch. All of them are a little bit different in their own way. So be sure to check these out because I think you'll have a great time creating with these. Now for today's card, I'm going to start with the largest of the Postage edge dies here. And you can see this is an A2 panel that I have placed it on here. So it fills most of an A2 size panel. I'm going to go ahead and die cut this. This is Concord and Ninth white cardstock. It is one of my favorite cardstocks. It actually is my favorite cardstock for blending. I love to use this for foiling as well. So I've die cut the largest shape using that Postage edge die. And I love this because it also has this dotted pattern right inside of all of those outer scallops. Now I've decided to pull out a stamp set that I have in my stash that I haven't yet used from Pinkfresh Studio. This is the Playful Petals stamp set, and you can see it's also available in a press plate set, but I will be using the stamp set today. And before I stamp this, I want to go ahead and mask off the outer edge of this Postage shape. So I'm using some mint tape from scrapbook.com to do my masking here, and I'm lining up the inner edge of that mint tape with that dotted line that the Postage edge rectangle creates on the shape. So now I have this open area in the center, and it's kind of stuck down to my work surface. So I'm picking that up using my tweezers, and I'm going to place this into my Misty stamping tool. Now the masking all around the edge is going to stay in place until I'm completely done stamping, ink blending, all of the things that I'm going to do to this panel. So you can see I've mounted my Playful Petals stamp into the center, kind of offset to the left side, and I'm inking this up with some Detail Black Hybrid ink from Pinkfresh Studio and stamping it onto this Postage edge shape right over the masking that's there. Then I'm going to heat set this ink because it is a hybrid ink and it takes a little extra time to dry. And I'm grabbing some of my favorite Pinkfresh Studio colors and doing a little bit of ink blending. I'm starting out with Ballet Slipper towards the top, and then I'm moving into Coral Reef in the center, and I will have the Peach Fuzz at the bottom. You can see I'm using those nice large 1-inch blending brushes from Pinkfresh Studio. These are just the softest, fluffiest brushes, and I love the soft blending that they give you over large areas like this. Now I have the Playful Petals stencil set, and notice that my masking is still in place. That's because I want to finish all the stamping and all the ink blending before I remove the masking, because I want to be left with this nice clean white border around this Postage shape. This will also give me the look of additional layers on this Postage edge shape without actually adding layers of cardstock or bulk to this card. So I'm going to work my way through this layering stencil set, and I'm using some various colors here. I have some passion fruit, some citron, I have some eucalyptus, and I'm just doing a little ink blending. I also have brought in a little bit of sweet mustard here to kind of give a little more yellow hue to those greener areas. And for the greenery, I'm using the eucalyptus. Now the florals, I used a couple of different colors on, and I decided I wasn't super happy with the finished result. So I replaced that previous stencil and blended a little bit more of this mimosa ink over the top of that to kind of orange those up. Still wasn't happy. So once again, just replaced that stencil and added a little more color. Now that all of my ink blending and all of my stamping is done, I am going to lift this off of this grip mat that I've been using. This is a Altenew 9x12 Ultra Sticky Grip Mat. It's perfect for holding paper and stencils in place as you do your stenciling. And now it's time to remove the masking, which is really the most magical part because this area has all been protected. So I get that really beautiful, clean white edge and white border, and my stamping ends and my ink blending all ends along where that masking was. And really, you could create almost a one-layer card with this technique. But today, of course, we all know I like big cards and I cannot lie. So we're gonna build it up, of course, with a little dimension. Now for my sentiment, I grabbed the Pinkfresh Studio Farm Fresh stamp set. I don't know that I've ever used this here on my YouTube channel, but I absolutely love the font of this sentiment. And I'm mounting my panel as well as my sentiment in my Misty stamping tool and using that detail black hybrid ink again to stamp that in that lower right hand corner. This also gives a nod to that postage. This is where you might normally have like your value of the postage. So I thought this was a perfect place for the sentiment. Now I wanted to add a little bit of shine to the edge of this postage die cut. So I went ahead and prepped the edges using a powder tool. And now I have my Versamark ink pad and I'm just kind of tapping it along this postage edge shape here. That will give me a little bit of ink along the edges. And then I can sprinkle on some gilded embossing powder from Brutus Monroe all along where those little bits of embossing ink are. This is just going to dress up that edge a little bit more, draw a little more attention to the edge, and of course, give it a little shine because, I can't resist a little bit of shine on my cards. Now, you'll notice that I'm kind of sprinkling this on, tapping off the excess. I'm wiping away any areas where there's, some additional powder that I don't want it. And once I have this all ready, I'm going to go ahead and heat set that embossing powder and melt it. And it will give me this really beautiful gilded edge effect on this postage edge. Now, overall, this card design is pretty simple because I really wanted the masking to be the technique that I was showcasing today. So once I have my heat embossing done, I added some foam adhesive to the back of this panel, and now I'm using some hemp twine with a little bit of gold braided into it to tie a bow in the lower left-hand corner of this panel. It's kind of given that stationary vibe and also pulling in that gold in another area. I'm just going to tie a simple bow, make sure it's nice and tight. And once I have that in position, I can mount this to an A2 size card made from some antique ivory cardstock. And you can see how nicely this postage edge die cut fits on that A2 size card. Now to finish this card off, I grabbed some of the matte gold pearls from Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm placing those in the flower centers as well as sprinkled around kind of on that floral cluster towards the left-hand side. I'm just using some liquid glue and my dual-tipped embellishment tool from Pinkfresh Studio to place those onto the card, and then that will finish off my card for today that features some brand new essential dies from Pinkfresh Studio along with masking to kind of create the illusion of layers without adding any bulk. And I absolutely love the simplicity of this card. And I love how something as simple as this postage edge die can really dress it up and make it feel complete. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there, or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, a complete list of supplies, as well as some information on a blog hop that's happening today celebrating this brand new Essentials release from Pinkfresh Studio. I want to say thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here so you don't miss any of my card making and paper crafting video tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.